So I'm here again the 15th of October for my autumn visit, and those of you who come to visit Wisley will be familiar with this Herons Bonsai Walk. So this is our collection of trees, including the two big garden trees. These were donated to Wisley, or loaned to be precise, to Wisley for the last 24 years, I think. And we have 36 trees here, and most of them are in splendid condition as always. People always wow about this. When I take a picture of this elm without anyone standing near it, you think it's only a small tree, but this tree is more than a meter tall. Look at it. And what's so good about growing Chinese elm outdoors is that the autumn color is spectacular. Look at the lovely pinks and yellows you get on this tree. And the leaves will stay on this tree for quite a while. Beautiful S shape. And it's got so much ramification. This is one of my favorite trees. Next one is the Trident maple. When you grow Trident maples in the full sun as bonsai, they get beautiful autumn color. But if you grow them in the ground as ordinary trees, they don't seem to color so well. This year has been a strange year. We've had a lot of rain, but we've had a lot of hot sun as well. And I'll just let you in on a little secret. If you see this beautiful nebari here, this comes from not repotting the trees too often. This tree, believe it or not, has not been repotted for 10 years, and the roots must be really pot bound. I must look at it this year, but by not repotting it too often, the roots are congested and the nebari improves. Of all the bonsai at Wisley, this composition is probably the oldest one we've had. It's been on show at Wisley since 1997, and it was made by me in 1984, before I came to the nursery, and they were only like pencil thick. And in those days, no one ever thought of putting trees as tall as this in a group. So this was quite a new thing, new fashion that I started. So these trees have grown thick. I've kept a few small. The top has died, but I've deliberately kept the top there, because you do find trees like this in nature, so it looks quite nice. And the autumn color of all the larches is always spectacular. I've come a bit too late. I must have missed the peak of this tree in color 2 weeks ago, and already half the leaves have shed from this tree. And all our maples, our mountain maples, turn this lovely red color. This is one of my homemade Scots pines. This was made at Herons, ordinary garden tree, but all these twists and bends have been achieved by wiring, and this tree is every bit 30 or 40 years in training. And look at the base again, that beautiful nebari. All these roots have again come about from not repotting the tree too often. You can see how the roots have gone round and round. They can't get out of the pot. So I'm not in a rush to repot this either. And this, of course, is one of the mulberries, or black mulberries. Look at the beautiful autumn color of this tree. Beautiful. Such a big trunk. And they produce lovely fruit as well. I've never seen the tree as beautiful as this for its autumn color. Some trees look good some years it's not good. This year has not been too good, because I think the heat has burnt quite a lot of the leaves. So this tree is not looking good, but I can see lots of new leaf buds. So this tree should be better next year. Again, this is a tree that I made in 1986 when I first went to Herons. This is a tree that I dug up from the front hedge of the Herons house. The reason why we have large bonsai at Wisley is because at public exhibitions like this, you need trees which are large. If they're tiny, I know they may attract attention, but they don't give that wow effect. So it's like showing large paintings in an art gallery. So these large bonsai are not what most people keep in their collection, but they are just trees that we like to exhibit in a public place like this. Another of my spectacular tridents. These were the tridents that I imported in 1993. Look at the Nebari again. If you come close, beautiful Nebari with uros and holes and the twists and bends. The movement has come from creating taper. The first cut made there, second cut made there, third cut made there. So progressively cutting, you get the twists and bends, and this is how the movement is created in the bonsai. And again, the Nebari is very good on this tree. Color is also very good. These are Chinese juniper, the Kisu variety. The spelling, by the way, is wrong. I don't know why they spelled this. Cake, it should be Kisu. And it's just an informal style. We have literally hundreds of these on the nursery. And the Fagus cranata of the Japanese white beech forest. And you may be criticizing this, but this, what appears to be moss, is not in fact moss. If we come close, you will see tiny purple flowers in there. Tiny purple flowers. So this is a type of mint. If you put your hand on it, you can smell the lovely minty smell, lovely smell. You can see the purple flowers. So it's not just wild moss, it is a type of mint that we keep as a ground cover. This, for those of you who are not familiar with your species, this is the rough bark Chinese elm. Not the Chinese elm that you buy as indoor trees. This one has got rough bark. So they come from Japan, and the rough bark gives it a lot of character, really adds to the age. And this is natural hollowing. I always like to tell people that this has not been carved in any way. This is natural rotting of the wood, and you see how the callus grows over the old dead wood, and the tree continues to survive. Many of our oak trees in the UK behave in exactly the same fashion. The live bark calluses over the old wood, and the tree continues to live. So the rest of the tree, as you can see, is ever so healthy. Root over rock trident maple are not so popular now, but as a species, the trident maple is a popular subject for growing over root over rock. Again, I've had this for more than 30 years in my collection. This is one of our very favorite maples. The color hasn't reached its peak yet. So although you see so many maples in this collection here, some of them have started losing the leaves, some of them have still got to peak in the color. And this will turn even more red than this. This has been produced from one of our field-grown trees, believe it or not. They were grown in a field, chopped down, and all the branches created again. More tridents. That's a trident with a beautiful base, lovely shape. I love tridents because they have beautiful thick trunks, and that creates a lot of interest. This is a larch made from one of our field-grown trees. Again, what a large tree. This is about 4'6" high, and all the natural hollow is completely natural. Nothing artificial about it. So the way this tree has been made, we just chopped it there, and we pulled a new branch up as a leader. So this is the standard way of making bonsai. Another of our homemade pines, this is Pinus austriaca, or the Austrian black pine. I've got to clean the needles, but I can't reach it, so I can't get up there. So at this time of the year, we have to clean the old yellow needles out. But apart from this, this tree is very, very healthy, very strong. I would just mention that these trees stand out here 12 months of the year, 365 days. They're not put away in protected cover or in greenhouses. They stay here all year round, and they do ever so well. That's another. This is the smooth bark Chinese elm. I was telling you a bit earlier about the rough bark. This is the smooth bark elm. These are the ones produced in China, whereas the rough bark ones come from Japan. Again, distinctive Chinese style bonsai. This is a cryptomeria forest that I put together maybe about 20 years ago. And for those of you who may be wondering why it is turning brown, this is what we call the winter color. As soon as you get a bit of frosty or chilly weather, the green leaves will turn brown. And most cryptomerias turn brown in the autumn and winter. And many people think that the tree is dying, but it's not dying. That is the winter color of this type of tree. So this species has that characteristic. This ginkgo always amazes me. Again, one of the trees that has been here since 1997. Loads of the tree is dead, but it keeps suckering from the base, and I've just kept it here. Again, with no protection, no special treatment, and it continues to thrive. Better than some of the ones that I've got on my nursery. And it's got a few more weeks before the leaves fall, and it will turn more yellow and golden than this. So ginkgo is grown for the lovely autumn color. This is a Japanese white pine, 5-needle pine on its own roots. Most of the bonsai pines are grafted. The Japanese white pines are normally grafted onto black pine, but this one is on its own roots, so it has this slightly yellowish or pale color rather than deep green. But that is the nature of that tree. For those of you who are familiar with my second book, Bonsai Masterclass, this is the Bonsai Masterclass tree, which was made from scratch in 1984. So this tree is quite old, 30-something years old. Another trident. This is a new tree that we brought this year. It's a Japanese hornbeam, not Korean hornbeam, but Japanese hornbeam. The leaves are long and elongated, and they have a lovely autumn color, usually yellow or pink in color. That's a juniper rigida or needle juniper, very prickly, difficult to work on, but it usually has very dramatic driftwood. And in case you think that this is a tanuki, it's not. It's genuine driftwood. It is absolutely genuine. This sort of thing cannot be attached to that part, so this is all real. If you look at the back, it is all real. Juniper rigida are not popular trees now because no one likes to handle these very prickly trees. They are absolute spiteful trees to work with. Needle juniper is called needle juniper because the needles are actually like needles. They are sharp and prickly. But they always tend to die back. You get dieback of branches, and that is why you get the driftwood. Trees that behave in this way, where you get natural dieback, constantly have dead branches, and that is what makes the driftwood effects. So when they grow in the natural habitat, they behave exactly like this. This is another new tree we brought here. It's the edible fig, Ficus carica. I don't know whether it produced figs this year, but on our nursery, those trees all produce figs. So the remaining trees, that's the crabapple. Flowering trees we change from time to time, so I may change this again next year. Another of our large maples, about to change color. And this is one of the Chinese junipers grown over rock. So this particular composition is, this is really, I think it is 2 trees, not 3. I thought it was 3. It's 2 trees grown on a piece of rock. Again, we've had this tree for many, many years. And this is a massive, great big Deshojo. I may have to change it next year because the top has suffered a bit in the heat. So this is probably going to change. We will rotate this tree. So from time to time we rotate the trees. The trees which grow in the ground, look at them. This wasn't pruned this year, we pruned it a year ago. So it's maintained the shape. So come March and April, we will be pruning this tree. Those rocks there and that garden tree, the pine, again this was gifted or grown at Wisley back in 1997, and it has been moved once. In 2012, when we came to this particular part of Wisley, we lifted this great big tree with a 4-foot diameter root ball, and it was quite successfully transplanted. So that tree is at least 80 years old. Those labels are about 24 years out of date, but that tree would be at least 80 to 90 years old, I would say. And they were imported by us in 1993. So this is what Wisley looks like, and I hope you will enjoy it when you come to see it for yourself. And this is a panoramic view of Wisley, our bonsai collection here. And you can see the children touch the trees, visitors touch the trees, and we don't worry about it. We are not concerned. So we like people to interact with the trees. So there you go.